Nanette, check your mic. We can't hear you.
Y'all didn't hear anything.
No,
Let's
man.
mic check, mic check. And I had coffee, so there's really no excuse for it. All right, let's try that again. I was just giving y'all a little bit of singing while we wait for other people to join. So I see we have 24 people in. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start SoFi over because you didn't hear what I was saying. So SoFi still looks good. And what I was looking at with SoFi is their all-time high is 28, 26, and they've been chopping around this 24 area. So there's been rejections here and here. And so as you can see, once SoFi was here all the way back in 2021, they've just been all the way at the bottom here since then. And so they're starting to give signals of breaking out. And what I was saying was mainly I'm going to watch the 4 hour on SoFi. Like the weeklies look good. We're getting an inverse arc and we're getting above the 12 EMA. And with that confirmation, they've just been moving. So even on a 2 week chart, they look good. I don't know who's in SoFi, but I know a few people were already in SoFi. And so on the weekly chart, we got the level 3 confirmation on the wolf chart. But what that means is that we're above this trend line. So we broke a trend line from this candle here. And we also reclaimed the 12 EMA. And so even on the weekly charts in the higher time frame, SoFi is still marching really strong. And what I'm thinking that when we last covered SoFi, the break was 1451. So as you can see from that signal that we've been following, if you've been following the videos, 1451, we've already made it to $19. And so with that break, I see on the 3 day chart, as long as SoFi can hold above, let's say 1842 here, we still have a clean signal that I've been watching from the 4 hour to target this order block here. And that will put us, you got to really squeeze to see when the last time SoFi was even that high. Because even on their last attempt here, when we were waiting for SoFi to break into the 20s, right here, I remember this. So this was in January. It just failed. So after the pullback, they have a really strong opportunity to get back to about this 22 area, 2270 area right here. So that's what I would watch for SoFi. I think it's still a good trade if you're already in it. And I think there's still opportunities to get in on a pullback. The thing is that SoFi is also sensitive to news, so just be mindful there's data dropping, and we'll look at that. So you want to just be mindful of your trade, just in case we get a pullback from any of the data that's going to be released. The thing with SoFi is they also have earnings July 29th, and you can already see that based on the ahead of their earnings, they're already starting to accumulate buyers and have been moving. They've been moving pretty strong for a bit now since they pulled back in like April. They've been on a clear move up. So SoFi is still on my watch list as well. I had August contracts, but I did close it yesterday. I'm in Upstart as well, so I'm gonna look at Upstart. Good morning. Hopefully everyone's hearing me now. So yeah, if you're in SoFi, good. What else are you guys looking at in charts? Because I just want to kind of cover whatever you're looking at.
Renetta, would you mind going over Pays, Pays? It's a small, very small stock. Um
Is
I
this it
came
right
up,
here?
yes,
Okay, let's see. Let me zoom out just so I can see. Oh, we have a lot of buyers accumulating here.
right.
On the monthly chart, you're also getting a floating candle. So if what are we in July? If July closes bullish, then this stock can have a continued ride up. Just looking at it from the monthly chart. Their all-time high was back in July 19 at 1867. So if you're in, you're in pretty. low and with nice breakout signals.
Yeah, I'm just entertaining right now. I didn't get in.
I mean, it's so cheap, so probably shares would make sense.
Yeah, that's
Unless
what I
you're
was
getting some
thinking.
leaps. Let's see, you got a 2-week confirmation with this candle here. And so with this candle breaking, let me zoom in a little bit. With this candle breaking, oh, it actually was this candle that broke the trend line and was also above the 12. You're getting your crossover too. You're getting the 12 and the 200 where the 12 is crossing back up. So that's a really nice bullish crossover.
Hmm.
And still I'm seeing 10, $11 maybe, close to $11.
Yeah, what did I have from?
Okay, here's the challenge
Yeah.
here. So yeah, and so with stuff like this, the best entry is when you're getting in low or
Hmm.
those first confirmations. So like even if you got in here, this was the best entry or a break here. With them being right here, it's going to be a bit of a chop, and so they may even get some pullback. It's a bulls and bear battle, so it's like who's going to win it? What you would want to see is that this is cleared somewhere at the top and that order block is gone. So if we can overcome the selling pressure in this area right here, that's been since 2020. So this is our first time back since 2020, challenging this zone here, which is a bearish order block. So as you can see, when it got back here in 2020, it was having a lot of challenges and just sold off from there. And it's just been down ever since. So I would say where it's at now, chasing it, probably not.
Right. Hmm.
But if it did get a break, you see how high it's been. So if it cleared this, or if you can get a nice pullback entry where they'll come back and challenge this again, then I would say that would work out. It is there is earnings on August 12th. So that's probably what we're getting is that the earnings pump, pre-earnings pump, which is the best time to get in is ahead of earnings. It's just right now they've already met their first destination, so this needs to clear.
Okay. Okay.
What else? What else do you guys have on your watch list?
I have BTBT.
BTBT.
Yes.
Let's see. Um, okay, so they closed last week. Oh, they're already breaking out from the previous week. Were you already in position?
I wanted yesterday to enter position, but I missed, I think.
You
And
missed
now
your
I,
entry.
yes.
So let's see. So they closed last week at 294. They opened this week at 337. So you're waiting for probably a pullback entry, but I'm wondering if this was the pullback because they opened at 337 and pulled back to this line. So as long as they stay above I would think 347, somewhere around
Yes.
there. They still have a squeeze up to test this area here. I mean, it's an order block right ahead now on it, but let me zoom out and I don't really know the history of this one. Okay, so they've been somewhere before and they've just been consolidating here at the bottom. So let's see. Looks like another pre-earnings pump. They have earnings in August. This is a nice signal. I got an inverse arc and we're breaking above the 12 on the 2-week. And so it looks like once they get around this 450 zone, they're choppy. And so real breakouts are going to happen when they start to really reclaim all of this because there's a lot of space here where as soon as they get to about $4 or $5, they're pulling back. So a breakout will give you a signal that they're going to go further. And your area that's being challenged is the breakout needs to happen above 574. If they can do that, then there's some opportunities to go a little bit higher, but that's really where they've been rejecting.
Okay. But do you think I could like enter today and hope until this $5? This will be like a move of more than $1.
If you enter today, what you're doing is you're entering right into a seller zone. And
Okay.
so you could get a reaction where they pull back, right? Like there's a lot of take profit here. There's still bears here that are gonna could potentially drive this back down. What I think you're getting in this stock is a pre-earnings pump because again, they have earnings in August. So there's just buyers starting to jump in to build their positions ahead of the company's earnings. Now,
Okay.
the cleaner trade would really be letting it break some of this resistance out. Um, if you're buying shares, you could always dollar cost average if you believe in this stock. I don't really have the history on this one or the company. They
Yeah.
definitely are gapping up. So wait for a pull. If you're going to try to get in, maybe a pullback, or again, just maybe some confirmations that if this is clearing, we break this zone here, then we can probably squeeze to 446. And then the real test, as you can see, is all of this up here.
Yes.
So your best entry would have been down here. Anything else, you probably want to just make sure that you get a pretty solid pullback.
Okay.
I was watching Tesla. We can look at Tesla. I closed Tesla yesterday on charts. And let's switch to I'm also in Upstart. I think Upstart still has a squeeze to
The upside, I do too. I think so
yeah.
too.
I'm looking at this area here, so I didn't want to. I still have a swing open, and it's been doing good, so I'm gonna hold it. I'm looking for around this area here, like 82, 84, and then if they get to 88, that's still good.
Hmm.
Are you already in, Tammy?
Yes, I'm in. I only
Okay.
did one. I was just like feeling my way. As a matter of fact, I got it from you. I was like, I like the way the chart is looking, so I decided to just put my toe in the water.
They closed pretty nice on what was it, June? So I was thinking too, like they at least have a chance to come back to where these wicks are.
Yes.
And I think there's a supply zone ahead right here. But if they start breaking that, I'll probably close the shorter term swing and look to get back in position. But they look pretty good. And as you can see, they've been just stuck in a box down here. So
For a minute.
once they start clearing some of this, they could start seeing the hundreds. But it just really is going to depend on buyer sentiment on the. But short term, I'm looking at the
Mhm.
80s, 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Do
in
you have
Upstart.
do you have shares or
Um,
options?
I did options on this one. I feel like I was a little late for shares. If it ever came
O-
back to a certain level, I would like shares. But right
Okay.
now, I'm in options. I don't know. I may even start looking if we get a pullback to get some shares too, because like I said, they still have a nice squeeze up to the 80s. So if you get a pullback, you don't have to get options. You can look for some shares here because the buyers are showing up. They have earnings August 5th. So as you can see, like when you're starting to see stocks break out ahead of earnings, that's when you really want to be positioned. You don't want to try to chase right at the week of earnings or, be trying to gamble the day of earnings. Get your positions in following smart money. So, they started accumulating around the 50s. And I think even one of the traders had called it out, but I didn't pay attention. So this was the best entry. I got in around here.
Oh, good. Hmm.
Yeah, but this would have been a perfect entry somewhere around here in the 50s. But yeah, they still have a squeeze. I think they still can get to the 80s, and then I want to see what they do once they get like to my target, which I have it at 82.53. And then I'll really just raise my stop loss and see if I'm going to hold longer.
Mm. Okay.
Let's see, Tesla. I wanted to look at Tesla. Tesla was so good to me. I did a Friday swing on Tesla and I grabbed a few puts, which wasn't too expensive. and I cashed out on those yesterday.
That was smart. Could you go back and tell me what you saw in Tesla to make you put the? I'm always now, I do either really well with Tesla or I get mollywop with Tesla. So I
Not Molly.
I tend to stay away from
I was looking at this. I didn't see, like, I've been following Tesla. Like, if you saw my other chart, I've been doing liquidity maps and just looking at real specific targets. And so when
Mhm.
I was seeing the rejection, I think it was Friday, Thursday. Okay, Thursday, because we had a
Thursday.
holiday. I was looking at the fact that we didn't reclaim the 200 on the daily. We just kind of came back and tested it. And I was like, I just don't see the signal still. We already have an inverse arc and we
Mhm.
already got the 12 curling under. So I just was following it that day. And I just decided once it had did the gap up, because I think it gapped up Thursday, right? Where's Thursday? Yeah, it gapped up Thursday. I just didn't see anything that was telling me that we were going to go further because I had did some liquidity mapping
Mhm.
and the sentiment was still bearish. And what I was also saying, thinking in my mind was with the big beautiful bill
Mhm.
and the whole drama with Elon that he would get probably punished once this bill was passed. And then of course what made it even a better trade was he announced that he was gonna open
That's
his
right.
own like political party. So then that just added to it. So why did Tesla stop here? Is like you can see here it hits some support around 291. But I mean, if they start losing, I think I said 290s in Discord. If they start losing 290s, I'm looking at probably two. Where did I have my targets at for? I think it was 287. Let's see. Yeah, around 287, 286, 287, they could come and squeeze back down to under 290. Where are they pre-market? I thought I saw them up a little bit pre-market. Oh wait, why is this? This is not my. Hold on. This looks weird. Sorry. I knew it was looking a little weird. Wrong Tesla chart. Still
Hmm.
same story though. What I was seeing was that they just couldn't break above some of those targets that I had. So even with the gap up Thursday, I was just like, this is the better entry for shorts. And so I just took on a position with shorts. And if we get this full crossover, that just doesn't look good for Tesla.
Mm.
And we're already
Oh,
starting to see the 12 and the 200 meet. So and prices are under it. I think we even lost the cloud, which captures all the 200s.
right.
And one more thing that I'm looking at, okay, so this candle right here isn't touching the trend line. So we have a candle under this trend line, under the 200, under the 12 with an arc. So we're getting a real bearish signal in Tesla. But I think what we have to watch is when, yeah, when it gets down here. So 287, 286, and then 284. I wouldn't even be surprised if they wick through this and probably get around the 270s.
Wow.
I'm trying not to be super bearish, but Elon pissed a lot of people off. So with all
Yeah.
of this political stuff, he's not focused on Tesla enough to make money. So yeah, even with this gap up, I'm not super impressed. Like this little pre-market 297, I would have to see
Mm.
some real moves on Tesla where they're trying to get back to this 200. But yeah,
Mm.
right now I'm still bearish on Tesla.
Okay.
But I didn't swing it longer, and I'm glad I took profits because at the moment I took profits on Tesla, and that's why I think it's important to follow your targets. Like I really was able to take profits like in this area right here. So I took profits pretty early. I was raising my stop loss. I think I sold here, left a runner, but when I seen it was going to be doing all of this, I didn't want to lose all that good profit because I was in here and we
Wow.
gapped down here. So that was my Monday, and I was very happy with that one.
You catch them, man. You be catching them, especially it seemed like over the weekend. I'm like, that's about the third or fourth time you've announced in the Discord. Like, I'm like, what is she saying to be able to?
I've been studying Tesla a lot though, because I mean, even like Chris Sane will say like Tesla can change lives. I do believe that because it makes the big moves. Like if you look at Tesla's ATR on the daily, and there's stocks that have like 20, but even with Tesla. their ATR right now is at a $17. So I think the gap down yesterday was a $20 move down.
Wow.
Um, from where they closed on Thursday. But there was a few things I paid attention to. One, the news, right? There's still that whole big, beautiful bill
Hmm.
that Elon's against. I had no clue he was going to announce something about a party. And I think that really influenced this trade even more. But the signals were still there. Just playing around the 200, that gap up on Thursday didn't really impress me because I had already had it mapped out. Actually, still on my chart right here. I was just thinking if it couldn't break through this, then I was going to go ahead and take another sharp position on it.
Wow. Okay. Really smart play. I was like, wow.
That was a blessing. Thank you.
Hey Renette, before you
Hey,
go, can you show us why you marked the two purple with the like what is it that popped out to you on the 31580 area and the next purple line? What is it when you went back? Because I did my liquidity mapping as well, and mine don't look like that. I got lines all over the place.
oh, did you see my liquidity mapping? This is my real. I'll show you. This is this is
Ah,
me.
never
This
mind.
is me practicing all the areas
That's
that we
how
can
mine
go.
looked.
But I don't trade off of this. I just I'll go back and find my key alerts. It's all color coordinated. That's why I will never like to share this to confuse anyone. But I don't play about my liquidity mapping because I want to know to the T where they're going. So hold on, make sure I'm on the right.
You see what I had for. Oh,
Mine looks like that, the second one you just showed. I'm like, my map does not look like this clean one right here.
No, I keep it clean. But I do like doing my liquidity mapping because now my mind is set on where we're gonna go and potential rejects. So with this one, you can just kind of see, like I'm gonna hide the pro for a second. You can see that this area right here has been a make or break area for Tesla. It's around this 318. And I think we've called it out in the past with Tesla. So this could have been on my chart for a while. But even when you look back, just look at how we play around that area. So if you have nothing on your chart, because I know not a lot of people use the Wolf chart, or not everyone's using it. Just if you just look at price action, it's right here. Here's a break of it. Here's a break trying to break out right back to it. So this area right here, even if you're a little bit different in price, around 318 is what we have to watch on Tesla. And so you can see how we were just kind of around that area. And so just on Thursday, I just didn't see the signal that we were breaking it. I felt the risk to reward was better to short Tesla.
mm.
Again, remembering that the bill was having high probability that they could pass it. So it was one just looking at the price action and knowing that we were in a critical space. I kind of see a pattern too. Like you can say this is a head, shoulder, shoulder forming, and then a drop. So it just don't look good for
Yeah,
Tesla.
I'm at 3 hours. Renata, can you're out mine on my trading view. I can't get 3 days. Is that because you have like the premium package?
I'm not sure, but you should be able to. Do you see add a custom interval?
Oh, okay. And then okay.
So even if you want to
I
add like
see.
a 2 week chart or something, you just go here and then add it. Now I don't
Oh,
know if it's a restriction because of subscription, but it shouldn't be.
I'm gonna add because I have the middle grade I have the middle one. So I was
Yeah,
just
you should be able to add that.
okay.
Now, for anyone watching too, like you can kind of see that this is why I'm watching 284 because we did have a nice demand here when Tesla came back to 284. So if you wanted to even like just take where we see potential buyers coming in, you can base it off of that candle and draw your own demand zones. But you can see if you follow the price action where Tesla has some possible buyer sentiment here. So I would watch this zone. Like once if Tesla comes under 290, which is possible, right? Is at 297. Again, I'm not really impressed with this gap up. I would have to see some real moves on Tesla to say that after we did this big gap down, we're going to really go back up there. But you can follow it and you trade what the chart gives you for the day if you're day trading it. But what I would say is that if Tesla comes back to this 284, 83 area, you can watch that to see if we start to get bullish reversals or signals here. And if
Wait a minute,
not,
what happened?
and if volume isn't matching, then we can kind of
Mm,
challenge this zone here and go
it's
under it. So
18.
again, you can start to use your
You
eyes
have
to
to drop
train
them
to see
off.
where we
Then
have.
come back to the hospital. Your appointment hospital at
Uh,
9:15, right?
1 second. I couldn't see who was talking.
It's 8 o'clock. It's probably 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to mute everyone, but you can just come off of mute if you need to speak. But yeah, I would watch this zone here because you can see even when price came back here in June, when was this? June 25th, we got a nice reversal. And we chopped in here before when we created this area of buyer interest. So I would think that once Tesla gets to around 283, 285, you want to watch 284, 283. Watch what we do here. That may give you some clues. Again, we can still challenge all the way through that and still have a bounce back up. It just, Elon, he's not focused on what he needs to be focused on, which is the company. I was watching stocks with Josh, and I definitely agree with what he was saying. So let's take Tesla down a little bit so we can see what the day could give. I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna go back to my wolf chart. All right. Now, if I'm not in Tesla, I'm definitely giving Tesla a minute to pick a direction. Because a lot of times what you'll get on Tesla, and I think this candle might be a perfect example. So if you were looking at Tesla on Thursday, no, Tuesday, July 1st, then if you were looking at it for a trade on July 1st, right, we had already gapped down. It's kind of what it did again yesterday. And we had already gapped down. So the move had already been made on July 1st. Yes, to a gap down. So we closed here, which again was at that 318 area, and we gapped down when we opened at 830. So if you were looking to get in, a lot of people that are not like experienced are thinking, I'm going to go in, and I think I've seen it happening, and I'm going to short Tesla. We're not giving Tesla time to prove itself. So if you look at what happened with Tesla is opened and hit a bottom of 293.21. If you're chasing that sharp because we had already gapped down, you missed the opportunity that I would say was here on Thursday after all of this choppiness, which I think Tesla chopped, like, look at this. This is all just chop, right? So I didn't really have an interest in Tesla after this move here. But when they came back to 218, which again, when someone was asking, like, how did I know or why did I have that level? It again became an area of interest for me because I already had my alert there. Tesla had already popped up there and we could not break it. So to me, that's why, again, the risk reward was to short Tesla. So if you're looking at Tesla now and pre-market, we are already at 297.01. Um, that's a little bit above, I believe, the high of where we were. Let's go to the daily chart. So let's see. The daily chart for Tesla, I like to measure high and low of the previous day as another clue. And this candle isn't like a long extended candle. So if you look at Tesla high and low, 296.15, we already broke the high so far of yesterday. So what you can watch on Tesla is to see if that high holds as support, 296.15. If we don't, then you're just going to be watching to see if we break 293, if we get back to the low of this candle around 288. And then that's what tells me that we're probably going to come back and test this 284 area. And again, that's where you need to be watching around 284 because one, we can do like this candle did and just keep wicking through it before we get a bounce, or we can just keep selling off. And so if we sell off, it just, again, just continues to look bad for Tesla. But already, if I look at my trend lines, we already broke a trend line. And so that's why I say this pop isn't too impressive. So one tip you can do is just measure your high and low of Thursday. That's 290. I'm sorry, got my days mixed up. Where we're at Tuesday? Look at the high and low of Monday. That's going to be 296.15 and then 288.77. And again, right now, pre-market, we're above the high. But if you jump in thinking we're going to just push right back up before you wait for your daily, get to your smaller time frames and wait for those confirmations, you're going to have a terrible entry. So just play the levels wisely. Um, I know like if you're in the wolf pack, we've been using pre-market high and low, and I like that. I've been following pre-market high and low ever since John called it out, and it works really good, especially with Tesla because I just know what's ahead and either direction, and then I just follow pre-market high and low, and I keep layering in previous day high and low. I need Trading View. I love Trading View. Honestly, I don't trade off. I played around with like Legend from Robinhood, but I just like Trading View. Don't worry, Tesla was my trauma, Kenya. But instead of running and being scared of it, I'm just trying to get my money back from it, and I think I've done that. So once you learn the chart, what you lost from it, you can gain that and some more. What else are you guys watching? I know we got some
Before
SPY
you, I'm
traders.
sorry.
Huh?
I'm sorry. Good morning, Renette. Before you
Hey, good
leave,
morning.
I may have missed it because I may have missed it. Did you say give us a something to look for this morning in case it continues to go down? Like what will be the entry? I know you said the pre-market high and low, and then mark the high and low of a prior day. But what would trigger you to probably ride puts down to that demand zone? That's the part I think I missed.
I would I would do it just like that. Previous day low and high with pre-market layered in.
Okay,
Because
so
I closed my swing position I had on Tesla, and what I was watching, and you can probably look at this resistance line, this line right here that's acting as support around
mhm,
291. So I was also just saying like if Tesla starts closing candles under 290-ish, that's
okay,
gonna also signal for me to get to this 284. And I don't see why when we're so close that we wouldn't get there.
right,
Um, we're just too close to not get there. And I think when we get there, also you want to be mindful that we're in an order block, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't sell through that order block with the right amount of sellers. So I'll still be watching it, but my main focus, because I'm just gonna day trade it from here, and
mhm,
I mean maybe I'll swing it. It just depends on if I really see the selling pressure. Is that I'll just follow my previous day high and low. Because yeah, we're above the previous day high so far,
mhm,
but we could open and that just turns all the way back down
right,
to where we want it to go anyway. And there's
okay,
even some lower targets like 276 in a 3 hour. That's crazy. But
okay,
yeah, Tesla doesn't look good, guys. I wouldn't rush to calls. I've coached a few people out of safely getting out of calls because you can see like Tesla will give you a swing up. That can happen today after a big move down, and that's what happened Thursday. So after that Tuesday gap down, all we did was gap back up to test this area. So until we're breaking 318 and 314 and holding, I don't really see it as a good thing. We can come back to this right here, this fair value gap that was created, and hit this sell zone one more time. I would probably still not be convinced because it's just a lot of selling pressure here.
wow, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, I got Tesla on my list again to watch. AVGO may take Tesla. I mean, maybe they've been holding solid. What was another one? Oh, IWM, Meta. I do have IWM on my watch still, and I'm actually glad they pulled back. And I don't know if anyone's in Apple. I'm glad I didn't see what Apple was doing. Let me go there first. So I've been plotting on Apple for a while, and I got some really good trades out of it. I mean, Apple probably was my most profitable trade last week. I know I did really good. And my main focus on Apple was this order block right here. So once we cleared that, look what we did. Once we clear a bearish order block, right? So where we clear where we have a lot of selling pressure and consistent resistance, once that's cleared, then the target was always to get to this area right here. So I think if you were on, I did a live with our just the ladies a while and we were talking about Apple, and Apple hit our targets really well. So I'm still looking at Apple, and what I really would love is if they would come back down to confirm this 206.24 as support. I know that sounds scary and bearish if you're in Apple. I'm just thinking that would be my perfect re-entry if this is confirmed to hold that support. But if we don't get down, I'm just going to follow it along from the smaller time frames. We do have earnings on the 31st of Apple for Apple of July. And if you're trading Apple today, I would still say just measure your previous day high and low and follow pre-market high and low. Keep it simple and just know that your targets is one, you want to make sure that Apple holds around 208, somewhere in that zone, and you can just kind of squeeze through and see, like if you look to the left, which I always say, look to the left to see where we could, how price action was in the past, look at the history. And so 208 is one of those areas that we do need to watch because we've lost it. We've attempted to break it and lost it again. We chopped around it here and we've been in like a box. And I think we're still in that box. And the real clear signal would be now where we're at is one getting in on a strong pullback where we know support is holding around 206 or 208. And then also making sure that if we get back up here, we're holding above 214. I would say 215 to be safe. And then the Arta block here. But Apple was a slow mover when everything else was breaking up to all-time highs. And they have earnings, so I'm really going to keep Apple as a top focus. But yeah, keep
Hey,
it simple. Wait for pullbacks, and also follow pre-highs and lows.
Where do you find the order blocks? How do you find those?
So these are already in my charts because I trade off the wolf chart, but what you're looking at when you're looking for order blocks is where do we start to sell off at, right? Once we peak the high or when we were starting to show signals of a pullback, where did buyers start to step in and drive it up? So there are indicators. I'm using the wolf chart, which is a system itself. And so if you just kind of, I'll just give you like a quick little view without the wolf chart. If you train your eyes to follow too, like you'll see like, okay, we had sell pressure all up here. So this is all a zone where would you be trying to buy calls here? Probably not. You would want to be buying calls where you start to follow smart money accumulating in on a stock. Now, with IWM, if you look at it, we got the inverse head and shoulder pattern, and clearly they need a breakout, right? I have, for some reason, I have I have 225.61 on my chart here, but you can see, like, look what we're doing here, around that area of 225.61, the chop and then the rejection. So when we start breaking out above here, then that's when I think IWM can start to make some additional moves. But right now, you can look at the pattern that we have, which is an inverse head and shoulder. So once we break that neckline, here's your head right here, here's your shoulder, and then here where we're building another shoulder. So you're just waiting on the breakout on IWM. So I did trade IWM here. That was all good. And I'm glad I didn't hold a position because they pulled back after that. But there are indicators that you can use to add order blocks, but you can also train your eyes to see where you shouldn't be buying. So people buying here without just getting the clean signals that we're reversing, getting break of structures, change of characters, you're just kind of chasing without full confirmation. The best entries were on all of these pullbacks. So yeah, IWM, I'm going to look to see what we do if we can break above 228.18. I think the exact price is, hold on, let's zoom in. It's based off of this candle from my chart, 227.98. Breaking above that and starting to clear this area, we can start to get some better highs on IWM. And I mean, we would have a really nice gap up. Let's turn the pro on, see what we got for historical resistance. Yep. Even if you wait to get in above 230, there's still a $10 move before we get to another order block right here. So you can map it out. but that one's on my watch list. I had another one. Let me go to Chat GPT. Oh, Nike. I wanted to tell you guys about Nike. So I used Black Wolf to talk through a Nike trade, and everything about Nike is looking still like a nice reversal signal from the 2-week chart. So I fed Black Wolf the 2-week chart and asked it to break it down for me, and it confirmed all of my moves and included take profits, and entries. So I'm going to be following this as well. Nike after earnings still has some nice upside, and Black Wolf really confirmed my take profit at 84.01. So let me look at the Nike chart. Okay, so see, Nike still looks good. So if you're looking for another trade, see if you can catch Nike on a pullback. And then as you can see, they're chopping around here. The price probably needs to hold above 77.03 for the next leg up to 78. And then I still think we're going to end up here. And that would still be a nice trade, though. So look for a pullback on Nike, even if we get into this fair value gap that was created here. There is a nice opportunity if we get a reversal in the smaller time frames to get into Nike. So I think Nike is worth watching, even if you're just going to day trade it from here. We're already getting the 12 trying to cross. It has crossed over, and the whole cloud is about to cross over. That's all signaling to me that we still can come into our 80s. Um, and Nike has been some places before it just started to dump. So we look how low Nike came. Um, so we had earnings. Man, April would have been a perfect entry. So there's still a nice signal that could form even on the monthly chart that just tells us that Apple's trying to break out. I'm looking at 82.22. Black Wolf gave some nice opportunities to take profit at 84.01, 91.48. Mind you, these are long holds because this is based off a 2-week confirmation. So you're not going to get a week contract on Nike and think we're going to hit these targets. Give it time to actually work out and watch for pullbacks around 74.16 and 76. I've been enjoying my little AI Sean. I don't have to bother him as much. I can just talk to Black Wolves. What else are you guys watching? I have a few more minutes left. IWM.
Coinbase, please. Coinbase.
Coinbase? Amazon.
Coinbase.
Okay.
Coinbase.
Coinbase. Let's see. So we'll do Coinbase, Amazon, Nvidia, APP. I thought someone already posted APP in the Discord. I'm gonna check it out, and then AVGO. Coinbase. Are you already in Coinbase?
Yes, but I have some shares because I didn't start playing options now. I'm still learning my videos. So at the moment I'm just trading shares.
I'd say you're doing it very smart by shares and
Yes.
not jumping right into
Yes.
options. So congratulations on that. I tell you what, I
Yes,
jumped
because
right
I
into
think okay, if
options and learned some tough lessons.
yes, because I think okay, if it doesn't work, I will own the shares, I will not
Ex
lose.
exactly. You're not losing it. You just have to hold maybe for the next time you come free.
Yeah.
Okay, so Coinbase actually, let me go to the daily. Let me look at the weekly chart for Coinbase. So they're getting a break of structure, and the weekly, if everything goes well on this chart here on the weekly, on a 2-week, I'm sorry. On the 2-week time frame, they're going to give us a floater, which is a level 3 confirmation. That looks really good. This was the floating candle on the weekly chart. And so, yeah, they still can break out because they peaked here and right now they're holding. So closing price last week was 353.43, and they still have a chance to break out. They're looking to break out and hold above 360 from the weekly chart. Nice break of structure, nice floating
Okay.
candle. And we've just been consolidating. So it's been an inside week for last week and so far this week. So you're just looking for the breakout. You're still following the fact, you're probably still following this candle here from the weekly time frame. If you look at it from here, we're just having inside weeks right here. So this candle you'd want to see it start to break the high of the previous week candle. If you're looking at it from the weekly standpoint, that'll be a really nice signal. And then we come and challenge the week of the 23rd candle.
Yes.
Yeah, I think coin still looks good. You'd have to kind of be mindful again how any news that can come out around it can influence it, but I'm just looking and I don't really see. I mean, this is trying to form an arc, but that can just break right back out. It's just been an inside week for a few weeks on coin. I don't know where you got in with shares, but I think you're just waiting for a breakout and you just need to make sure you have a stop loss as well. They hit a fair
Yes.
value gap and pop back up here. Yeah, I just think you're waiting on a breakout.
Okay. Thank you.
Just be mindful of that breakdown too. Don't hold too long if
Oh.
it's not going well. Because even as you're a beginner and you're learning, you still practice. Even if it's shares, you still need a stop loss. That's just my opinion.
Yes, but the issue is, I think last week, the week before last week, I had a stop loss with Coinbase, and the stop loss was hit, and then like 1 hour later, the stock goes up again, and I was that angry.
I would be too. It happens, but try this, try the ATR stop loss. So if you're looking at Coinbase and based on your entry, their ATR is actually it's an aggressive move, so it's still a nice signal up. But their ATR is about $18. So if you're buying shares, your ATR stop loss, you would just use based on what time frame you entered, try that. So if I was like just day trading coin and I do a 5 minute entry, right? Like I'm just day trading it off the 5 minute, check out
Okay.
their ATR for the 5 minute and you can base your stop loss off of that. So if it's $1.05, you're going to want to have that range for your ATR. And you can also look at that as an idea of what targets you would hit um, on the trade, but you're basing it off the time frame you enter. So if you're buying shares off the daily and holding it longer, you can see their ATR is $18. That means they can swing up or down in a day
Yeah.
$18 or so. So then if
Yeah.
you adjust your stop loss to accommodate that type of a swing, then you're using an ATR stop loss. I
Okay.
found that helps to not get stopped out of a trade too quick. Follow the stock's
Yeah.
average range.
Yes. Yes. Okay. That makes sense. Yes.
Someone said, um, sorry if I get a little distracted, guys. Trying to keep up. Okay. APP.
Or APP was discussed in the Discord, Nat. You're right, because Manny was posting it too.
Of course Manny found APP freaking out. He be hunting. Um, let's see, APP. Let me just do a quick view. Oh, look, they get an inverse arc. They're at the 200 test, and now they're testing the 12. They're trying to break here. I would watch to see if they break this resistance line on a daily because we're so close to it, 352.15. If price starts holding above 352.39, I'll tag it at that. I'm actually putting an alert because APP moves big. Their ATR is $19, swing up or down. So what did I say? I'll base it off of this candle, 352.39. Okay, I set an alert for APP. I would watch probably from where we're at pre-market for that to break. And then also maybe a pullback entry. So if we start to pull back to the 12 and test the highs of this candle here, you can watch to see if that holds as support, 346.78, or you can wait for that breakout. And then honestly, just feed this chart to Black Wolf because this looks like a nice confirmation where we're at. So if we take that to Black Wolf, let's see. It's probably like, what chart? Oops, I forgot to give it the chart. So it's doing Nike again. Let's see what our take profits and breakout entry would be for APP. Valid and active. Short-term target would be 364.36, mid-term 383.71. So yeah, there's some nice upside opportunities. It says a hard stop should be at 324.87, but again, it's basing it off the daily, so be mindful of that. We got all confirmations, and a liquidity run would be 364 to 383. So yeah, I think we got all the signals that APP is trying to break out, and plus we're looking at a potential pre-earnings pump because earnings is the 6th. So I would watch that breakout 352.39 or pull back to test the previous day high. And then you just see where we land. The key is that price needs to reclaim that 12, which would also probably put us against that resistance, above that resistance 352.39. APP looks good, guys. What a breakout. Someone said Nvidia, and then someone said Amazon. I forgot who I was working with that had shares of Nvidia that had been trying to get out of it from the last pullback, but you should have been able to successfully get back in profit after this breakout. But Nvidia's story, where are we? Let me just zoom out for a second. We got a monthly inverse arc crossover here above the 12. And if we're gonna go higher on Nvidia, you have to plug in probably fib. Because they're already at their highs. So you can plug in fib. Right now, you're just waiting on a breakout, right? Like the high that they were at was 160.98. If price starts holding above 160.98 on Nvidia, which we're pretty close if you look at the 159.45, then you can see that we have some upside targets using fib. You're gonna have to plug fib in to Nvidia. And I'm just doing the auto fib. I'm not gonna manually put the fib in. So maybe if we're seeing price hold and break out of this high 160.98, then this could potentially be a target from a higher time frame. So that's going to be it really. Just, I mean, with Nvidia, just watch to see previous day and high, but the key point is going to be whether or not we come back up to 160.98 and we break above that. That's going to signal up a leg up. You still have to be careful because we are at all-time highs, so you'd want to watch it just to make sure that we hold. But I would put 160.98 as your key breaking point. And if we continue to hold above that, then that's when we'll target some new upsides for NVIDIA. So it's not really that much of a story right now where it's at, other than if the bullish story continues and we still keep getting buyers accumulating on NVIDIA, watch that price. Amazon, this might be easy as well because where they're at 223.82. I'm gonna put an alert in case we pull back to 223.82. That's just a quick glance from the 1 hour, but let me take it back a bit. All right, so Amazon's all-time high puts us at 242.52, right? Yep, 242.52. And where we at right now, we need to, what I have is 223.82 needs to be our break and hold. And so price right now is at 224.28. And I'm saying that because where we are right now, the next leg up would have to be confirmed with that break above this 223.82. So I would keep that as one signal. Otherwise, I'd just be looking for a nice pullback entry because if we can get it anywhere here, it's still a good trade. Like if it can come back to 210, I'm not mad at that. I don't know. The train may have already left the station on Amazon. Another nice signal that we can have happen this week is the level 3 confirmation off the Wolf chart, right? We're above the 12 EMA and we're breaking a trend line. And so if we get a floating candle on the weekly, that's going to tell you that they're trying to push price back to those highs. But I do like Amazon. So I would say that's another one to add to your watch. You have a floating 3-day candle that happened here, and it's still the same thing. It needs to break above this 223.82. I'm just going through each time frame. Even breaking that would just give a clean target to this 240 area. So if you're not in Amazon yet, you may still have an opportunity on a breakout to get in. I don't see anything stopping us once we get to price holding above 223.82, which we're already there pre-market. So maybe following pre-market high and low would be a nice signal. I don't know. I may actually just focus on Amazon. It just looks easy to trade from here. Yep, I think I'm going to follow Amazon as well today. Look at the cluster. It's just been trying to break out here. So if you're looking for a trade, Amazon may be another nice one for you to follow. Just look again for the breakout above. Oh, it looks like a little bit of resistance here when it hit equal highs. It just kept rejecting here around 224. So as we are holding above 223 and 224, it just looks good. So I would watch this. I would also watch to make sure if we hold 223.84, we break these equal highs. It's just been choppy. So 224.29 would be the next watch. Almost there. So Amazon looks good, guys. I don't really have too much more on that one. You closed out of what? What did you close out of? Amazon? Prime Day. Oh, okay. Oh, good. I'm gonna follow Sean on Amazon. I think Amazon may be my favorite for today. Oh, Nike. I think that's okay. Maybe Nike will give a pullback, right? Like we have to also remember, even with tariffs, Nike could be influenced by that and pull back. Okay, I'm gonna do AVGO real quick and then we will wrap up there. I have to get ready for work. AVGO. Oh, let's see what AVGO is doing. I think AVGO is a nice follow. Let me just zoom out for a second. It keeps rejecting at 277. Yep. I mean, that's what it has to break. It's gonna have to break 277 area. Um, and then you really just need to add fib from there. AVGO 277.71 is gonna be your break. So 277.71, follow that for AVGO as your key breakout, and then you're going to have to add fib to see where it goes to from there. So not that much of a story. You can just see it, right? Like even on each time frame, that's your area. So if you start getting candles closing above 277, 71 on AVGO, that's telling you they're trying to break out higher. You have to be careful there because is this their all-time high? I think it is. Otherwise, we could just be getting a double top from here
Yes,
to
they're all-time
here.
highs.
Yeah, so just be careful. Not saying it can't break out. I'm just saying that's what I would follow. I wouldn't chase it here when 277 just keeps being a rejection point. They're already at 276.20 pre-market. So maybe if you had got in to swing it, you got a nice squeeze to open up with. But we're supposed to be getting data. So let's look at the data before we wrap up. But 277.71 would truly be the only reason why you could probably chase it if you're seeing clear signals that that has turned into support. and then you just toss in fib to see if they'll get here to 90.49, but I would play it at a smaller time frame. I would just follow fib at a smaller time frame. So yeah, that is not that much of a story on AVGO where it's at right now, other than seeing if it'll break out or break down. I hate to say break down because it just would be a pullback after hitting all-time highs. Let's go real quick to our data. I think we had data dropping. Did we have data? No, maybe I'm wrong. We do have consumer inflation hitting today at 10 a.m. Be mindful of that while you're in your trades. And I think we have some more data, crude oil data. And then Thursday, we have some unemployment data. Okay, so I'll be careful around 10 a.m. We do have the consumer inflation dropping as well. Consumer credit change auction, the bill auction. So yeah, I would be watching around 10 o'clock. Be careful with your trades. That's what we're looking at for today. Always be aware of the data. Okay, guys, I have to wrap up here. Sorry, I couldn't cover BAI, but I think I saw Stocks with Josh, if you follow him, covering it on his video. If you didn't catch the whole video, I'll post it on YouTube just so you can go back and watch. If you have questions about the Wolf chart, you could just message me in Discord. But I hope everyone has a great trading day, and thanks for sitting in with me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate your
Thank
time.
you so
you.
much.
Bye,
Have a great day.
guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Thank you.